Okay. Well, this software here says I am live, so I'm going to assume that's accurate. So I am live now from Las Vegas, Nevada. Beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, which, due to COVID protocols, is very much locked down right now. So that's cool because I'm here to work. So in fact, I'm here to work on and to apply what it is that I'm out to talk about today, which is, sorry to be the bad guy, but realistically, your ideas aren't really worth all that much. And it took me forever. I still like am learning this constantly. It turns out that, every day I journal and I write down more ideas, and I have like, here's the thing. So literally, as you can see, I have all this to go through of all these different ideas and different things that I'm trying to work on, and I want to take all of those, and over the course of the next few days while I'm here in Las Vegas, I'm going to add them to a plan because your ideas aren't worth much unless you've actually put them on a plan, some agenda to actually get them to do something. And then, of course, what good is a plan if you're not actually executing it? So, next up will be I'm going to be taking all the ideas, getting them on a plan, discarding the ones that aren't going to make it. And then I'm going to take the next step, which is hopefully, even while I'm here, start to delegate things out to my team so that way the plan is being executed. Better than an idea is a plan, better than a plan is the action. So that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what actions you might be able to take to move your project, your dreams forward, especially if it's in regards to developing a domain name. So say hi in the chat. If you haven't, please like the video, share it out. Follow me if you don't follow me. And hopefully you're already following me, but if you're not. And again, I'm here in a room in Las Vegas. So we're live and anything can happen. Hopefully no fire alarms or anything like that. It can happen, I promise you. But we're going to get things going. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you on the other side.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Wash and get started right now.
Okay, well, let's see if that goes away. This is these traveling road shows. These traveling road shows, you never know how they're going to go because I don't have any of my bells and whistles. It's me, a laptop, a microphone, and just trying to figure it out. I literally have a lamp right here, just a lamp that I grabbed off of one of the end tables in the room to try to give a little bit of light. So yeah, we fly by the seat of our pants here, which I love it. I love the figuring it out. So, hey, Michael, I always first want to say hi. I appreciate it. Thanks for always being here with me. In fact, if there's any questions that I can help you with, Michael, especially today, if there's something I can help to just kind of, I appreciate it. And if there's something, a question you have, I would love to spend some time on helping you move your dreams forward, especially Dominic. Thank you so much. Same to you. Same to all my regulars. It's been 6 months of doing this show now. 6 months, half a year. And like that benchmark just kind of makes me think, what has been accomplished? What has been done other than creating a bunch of shows and hanging out with you guys and gals. And I want to make sure that we're actually taking action, which it just so happens to be what I want to talk about today is that idea of, taking the idea to a plan, to an action. Like if in fact, if you look, I made that little the image to cover for this, which is the idea that an idea is less than, or I should say, a plan is greater than an idea. Like you can have a plan, just like I'm turning a domain name into a business. Like it doesn't even need to be an idea. Often we say that domain names are the idea, because your idea, like there's so much room to just repeat and do the same things and do the basics well. You don't need to like reinvent the wheel. And anyhow, so a plan is better than an idea. And then more important than that is action. So if you could only do one thing today, if you could only do one activity, action is what it is that I highly recommend, which I'll talk a little bit about what action you might be able to take, when your back's against the wall and things aren't going right or something. You can't have ideas as of that point. If you need to put food on the table, if things aren't going well, you don't sit around coming up with ideas. You take action. That's why it's like the most important piece of it. Now, of course, as you get going, you want to take the right actions, the actions that return the biggest return. So talked a little bit about leverage last week. So first thing first, well, maybe not first thing. We've already chatted some, but I want to share out my screen because I want to talk about some of the domain names that are available this week. And we're doing it the rough and raw way. We just kind of, I pulled up expireddomains.net. Hopefully you can see that up there, expireddomains.net. And I've just been kind of browsing through some of these domain names, and I do have a couple of them that I've pulled out. And I'm kind of curious if you want to let me know in the chat if you've seen something this week that you are a big fan of, that you think is a good development. But in many ways, I don't want to spend too much time on finding new domains. I feel like after 6 months, certainly we all have at least one domain name in our portfolio, in our possession, that we're like, hey, we need to build something on this. I'm passionate about it. I want to do it. So let me see here. I'm not seeing anything on this list. So I'm going to scroll up real quick and look at the wish list. I think I have 3 or 4, two domains. So these are kind of just fun ones. I pulled out like UFOs.com. I mean, come on, people. Like, isn't that the great? Like, I love the freaking idea of UFOs.com. It's up over $8,900 currently. But realistically, of course, it's going to be worth that because UFOs, it's UFOs. So that one's going to end in 6 days here, $8,900. And you can see it's probably going to go for easily 5 figures. So probably no real business idea on that one, except for it's a cool domain. And I just realized that you couldn't see when I clicked over to that. So, but yes, it's over $8,900 currently, and likely not going to be something you buy for development necessarily. I don't even have a business idea for it, really. That's kind of the thing is there a business idea for UFOs.com? I have no clue. So I'm clicking around. I'm just going to the other one, which is usetrailers.com. Usetrailers.com. So my thought with usetrailers.com would be a product classified type website. In fact, that's pretty heavy. 1,700. We got some expensive domains going on here. I'm going to join into the auction. Well, I'll do it another time because I don't want to enter in my password and stuff here live. But I'm going to join into that auction because I do enjoy usetrailer.com, mostly because I love those vehicle classifieds. Peter Askew, he loves the job postings where people can post jobs, things that they're hiring. I love the idea of selling used products for the same reasons that he loves jobs. It's you get unique stuff. I mean, think of an Antique Roadshow and these different shows out there where people love to explore used items. And they also have the practical need of of getting the item, like a used trailer. Like, I don't know who buys new trailers. I'm sure somebody. Anyhow, so usetrailer.com is over on GoDaddy, ending in 5 days, already up over $1,700. And that is going to, and it is plural. So it's great for like a classified. So it's like where you would go to find used trailers. I could see this being something, everything from motorcycle trailers all the way over to, even the full out semi truck like trailers. There's a lot of room there, and they're actually like typically rather high profit margins when they're sold new. So the idea of selling them used, there's going to be some margin, some fun stuff, and people will be willing to pay to get it on a authoritative, validating domain name like usetrailers.com. So I'm surely going to join that auction because it is in the transportation realm, which is my bread and butter. And it just so happens that in these mini documents here, one of the things we're going to be doing this year is building out our equipment and our vendor and our stuff for sale type features. In fact, back in the office right now, possibly even listening, is Matt, who is going to be working on trucks for sale, which is something we're going to be adding to towing.com. So fun stuff. Let me see. Okay, so Michael's sharing out here. He's going to be building out growersclub.com. Michael, I'm curious, are you going cannabis on it, or are you going just general horticulturist type stuff? I guess you can go either or. That's the beauty of a domain name. So I hope that's okay that I share that. It's in the chat, so it's public. So growersclub.com. I'm wondering, I wish I could just pull you up on the camera. I could send you a link and bring you on the spot, which I do plan on starting to add that as early as next week. I was inspired by NamesCon, the idea of bringing other people on. I want to do interviews, but ultimately there's so many buttons to push. Like adding interviews is difficult. Okay. So, man, I spent, I don't know if you were on NamesCon last week, but I spent 3 days going over development. So I've spent a lot of time, talking to a camera lately. So I was like, my idea this week is to probably even keep this a little shorter than usual. I usually do an hour. So my plan is to probably keep it a little lighter. Let me attempt to adjust that. Okay. Sorry. Just, I tend to talk so fast, and it's one of the things I'm trying to work on is, taking a breath, gathering my thoughts, and trying to make sure that what I'm saying is meaningful rather than Drew just talking like crazy. So not sure. He's just starting to build out growersclub.com. So I'm kind of curious, guys. We have an awesome community of domain developers. And I won't put you on the spot, Michael, any more than what I've already done, but I am kind of curious as to if you've implemented the first step of what I like to call the 3 C's, or what I called 3 C's on Wednesday. It's kind of what I labeled the idea of the 3 C's. So let me lay this on you, because I've never called it that on From Domain to Profit, but it's the idea that, hey, you have a domain name. How do you know if you develop this thing out or not? Well, what you can do is, we've talked about putting a landing page up on that domain name, a way to capture the contact information from the people that visit the domain name. Yeah, you can always sell the domain name to them, but ultimately you also want to find out like who's interested in knowing more about what's going on with the domain name. So I labeled that the 3 C's on Wednesday, and it's the idea that you put up a form and you can capture the information of those who are looking to, who are visiting the domain name, just typing it in. So you can capture their email address, the phone number, maybe even a comment, whatever you want to put on that form, you're capturing it, putting it into a database. Then what you can do is, that's C1 is capture. C2 is converse. And this actually brings me to one of the actions one of the first action steps that we can take when we're developing a domain name. Putting up a forum's something you can do in your pajamas at night, uh, you know, bored, and you just toss up a form on the website that emails you. But what I'm talking about now is actually talking to another human being. And it's an important thing that we a lot of times just neglect. But it's the idea of conversing. So, conversing when we're looking at a domain name. So, for example, Michael with Growers Club, I assume.com. That's just an assumption, but developing out growersclub.com. So, who are the people that are visiting a domain name? And then talking to them and just being like, hey, thanks for submitting the form. We're excited about some of the stuff we have planned for growersclub.com. And I just was kind of curious, you visited the domain name. What was your interest in the domain name? Do you grow? Is there something you do currently? Is there a question that you had when you visited the domain name? And you're just having a conversation like you would over a cup of coffee or a drink with the other person. And the reason why you're doing this is you are trying to find the obstacles that they have in accomplishing whatever it is that they're out to accomplish. Why did they visit the domain name? Chances are they didn't find it in Google. They didn't find it through traffic. They typed it in. They typed it in most likely because they either wanted to buy the domain name or they have some idea or something that they want to put on that domain name. Okay, well, why do you have that idea? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Well, I've always wanted to do something with this. Well, are you doing anything currently? What's in your way of that? Well, what if and here's where we get to that step 3, the conversion. Ideally, these are two different things, but you can just powwow with your buddy that you're conversing with. What if I put up a domain name? What if I put up a website that allows you to have a profile that shows you as a member of growersclub.com, and you can choose the different types of plants or whatever it is that you grow. You can kind of categorize yourself as maybe a cannabis grower or rare flowers, or who knows, through the conversation, through step 2, they're going to tell you what kind of grower they are. And if you find that, of course, 80% of the people that are there are looking to grow cannabis, then obviously your market's going to be around that cannabis. And then you're just trying to find the obstacle that they're dealing with and then provide them a way to accomplish what they're looking to accomplish. They came to the domain name because they wanted it for something. What did they want it for? They wanted that exposure. Well, you can give them that exposure by creating a tool and help them accomplish their goals. And of course, in turn, as a business owner, you can just ask them to give you a little taste, like, hey, pay me a monthly fee to be a part of this. And as I try to help you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. Hopefully that makes sense. That simple nuance that happens when we put in those 3 C's, where we're capturing the information, having a conversation, taking the action of having a conversation, and then the third one of kind of converting them to either a customer or an advocate. They could be an advocate too. So by that, I mean, they have early buy-in into what it is that you're trying to accomplish. If you are talking to them before there's even a website up on that domain name, and you're asking them like, hey, what do you plan on doing with it? Oh, would this help you? And they're like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love to have something like that. That person rightfully is going to be super excited about what it is that you're doing on that domain name. They're going to be an advocate. You better darn well believe they're going to be posting the forums and talking to their other friends like, oh yeah, I'm talking to this guy about growersclub.com. So now you've already, before you've even done anything to make money or any development, you're putting yourself in a position to be able to launch. And now you kind of keep in touch with your advocates and those people who are that you've talked to. Just kind of keep them up to date, and you let them know how things are going. And next thing you know, you're ready to launch. I see this pretty frequently on Twitter. In fact, a lot of people that use their Twitter followers and they just kind of update them like, hey, I put this out there. It's exciting. And oh, look at this. We already have, 12 downloads. Oh, wow, 12 of those downloads. And we already have 2 people that have paid for it. And it's bringing people along the journey, which creates a buy-in and an advocate. So the conversation they're having is through Twitter. It's not really my thing. I kind of suck at that kind of thing, but I would much rather talk to somebody. So idea, plan, action. What are the actions? So one of the things I wish that I could talk more about on the show is this idea of why the heck we do any of this. Why do you want to start a business? Why do you want to leave your current job? What is it that you like? Whatever it is, there's always a why. And I talked about it just at the kind of get-go, this idea of if your back's against the wall, having an idea is pointless. In fact, I know a guy who was going through some financial difficulties and just was going to major debt and stuff, and things were getting really hard on him. And he had this, paralyzing feeling, and maybe you can relate where you're paralyzed. You don't know what to do because everything around you is kind of collapsing. And I hope you've not experienced that, but I think all of us have. And kind of what advice can you possibly give somebody? It's almost like too late. But here's the one thing that you can do. Being paralyzed is caused because we think we can think our way out of trouble. We're all like, we got these giant brains up here and they're like, oh, we can just think about this and figure our way out, when ultimately we need to take action. It's not the idea that we need to do anymore. It's not the hiding. It's not the fear. It's the action. And what action can we take? And that's one of the things I'm probably asked most frequently is like, hey, what would be the fastest way to make $5,000? What would be the fastest way to accomplish this? To which I nearly always say, and I'm going to say it right now, you have to get on the phone and make sales. Sales are the only way to dig yourself out of a hole. So I'm like a techie, and I would be just as fine, well, like this, being in a room with a bunch of papers thinking nonstop. But instead, realistically, this does not pay the bills. Thinking and planning does not pay the bills. It's when it's all executed through actions. My point is, when business used to get difficult for me, when we were a smaller company and things were getting tight, and I felt that paralyzing feeling coming on where I just didn't know how to get our way out of a situation, I would always do action, which I'd either talk to our customers, have a conversation, converse, or I would try to figure out a way to convert more people. Those are your only options. So hopefully nobody out there is necessarily in a place where they feel like their back's up against the wall. But if that is you, your only options are to sell, sell, sell. And if you're like, oh, that's not me, well, I don't think you have a choice. Your back's against a wall. You need to learn that skill. So most business books I've ever read actually do also say like, hey, sales is an important skill. Like you have to have it in some way. And we're all salespeople. Great book. Okay, I'll say this, and then I'm going to go back to looking for some domains a little bit. But a great book that I highly recommend is called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. It is by a guy named Darren Hardy, who's my mentor. You've certainly heard me mention. He has The Compound Effect, which is a great book for like just setting up the habits of your life to get you to where you want to go. But then the number 2 thing that he has, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, which deals, it's like for you if you want to start a business, and it walks you through like the most important aspects of business, primarily sales and marketing. He spends a lot of time sales and marketing, and more importantly, talking about inside of you, you're going to have all these. It deals with the inside problems mostly. The idea that people around you are going to tell you, "Oh yeah, it's a great idea." Then when you actually start to do it, they're going to start like you explaining all the issues, the reason why it's not going to work, and you basically have to learn that you can't tell anyone what you want to accomplish because your friends, your family, your loved ones, hopefully not your spouse if you're married, but a lot of people, almost everyone that you care about is going to tell you that it can't be done or it's not for you. And so that's all on the entrepreneur roller coaster. And there's also a great story that if you've never heard it, the idea that Jeff Bezos, when he was going to start Amazon, he went to his boss, who was a mentor of his, and kind of said, "Hey, I'm interested in doing this. I'm interested in selling books, Amazon.com. I want to be part of this internet thing." And his boss pretty much said, like, "Hey, that sounds like a great idea. But it sounds like a great idea for somebody who's not already successful like you to do. Like, you have a great job here. You have bonuses and things to worry about. Don't bother with something like that." And Jeff had to overcome like his mentor, kind of like passing doubt onto it or whatever. Like, you have to be like willing to step out there and just kind of ignore others. So I'm sure you've experienced it. If you've ever tried to move a business forward at all, people are very quick to say, "Oh, that wouldn't work," or "That's a good idea, but have you thought?" You just got to go after it and follow your own heart. So, and I'm just going to share up here, just Ryan saying, "Yeah, I definitely dread sales stuff myself," and I dread sales still. I hate phone sales. I hate phone sales so bad. But I will do them. And like when my back's against the wall, I will pick up the phone partly as masochist or whatever. Basically, I punish myself. I punish myself for getting in the position where I have to stress out. So the way I punish myself is doing what I don't want to do, which is get on the phone because I know I need to do that. And I will start making sales calls until I get the momentum and feel the pain of my former decisions, and hopefully make a sale as well, helping move me out of that situation. Anyhow, hopefully there's some good stuff that I really wish I could unpack in there. So just the idea of you have to go and do the hard stuff, the stuff that you're dreading, assuming the hard stuff is what it's going to take for you to be successful. That's an important piece. I'm telling you to do sales. Nearly every business coach out there is going to tell you you're going to need to learn and dive into sales, even if you hate it. And the idea is do the sales, hate it, and then be able to hire somebody and teach them so you don't have to do sales anymore. But you can't hire them until you get the get the funds going. So hopefully that's some good stuff in there. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be spending. This is seriously like, it's a little embarrassing, but this is how I think things through. I had zero intentions of showing you any of this stuff, but kind of out of a little of embarrassment, but also if I ever give off the impression that I know and can do a lot, and I try to teach you those things, but I am a complete disaster when it comes to some of the absolute basics. So ideas come faster than you could ever do them. I think we can all admit that, right? We all have a lot more ideas, or we wish we have ideas of ways that we want to change the world. Actually doing them, though, is the hard part. So I will have ideas, and this will be me starting to plan it out. Like I will do it on, Post-it notes. I like to think and put together, large, I'll fill whiteboards, or these are 11 by 17 papers that I will fill out. And I actually have a thread on my Twitter called, it's like a hashtag whiteboard. And basically I will spend time, that's where I take pictures, and I will post some of these. I'm sure I'll be posting a lot of them over the next few days. But I want to capture these ideas and then organize them. In fact, this is kind of funny. This is how old some of this stuff is. I don't know if you can see this here. That is, this paper must be from so long ago that is me drawing out the From Thought to Profit logo. So that's what, 2018. So 2018 is when that was from. That was me like coming up with some logo ideas for when I did the documentary on developing domains. Yeah. So these have been on my desk for quite some time, and I've been just kind of keeping the ones that I want to revisit. And well, it's time to revisit them. I got a lot of work to do. So anybody else have piles of notes and ideas? Yeah, I'm sure that's the case. I have a filing cabinet. That's the word. I have a filing cabinet still at the office, full of folders of ideas from when I was, 20, 21, 22. And I thought the idea was the most important part. I thought that was what mattered. So I keep all the ideas and I put them in filing folders. I've been hauling that filing cabinet around from office to office over the course of 2 decades. Kind of just wanting to go back through it. I guess I'm keeping it for, I don't know why I'm keeping it. It's hard to let go of that stuff. Okay. So yeah, I have lots of work to do. I don't know why I'm 100% looking through this, other than possibly I will have something good that I can. Yeah, I got nothing. I mean, all of it's good. So here's I love this stuff. So this is like, we could do shows on each of these different things. So this is a attempt at I call it my marketing mountain. So if you watch From Thought to Profit, it's very basic stuff, right? The idea that say you want to make $100,000 a year with your business. Well, to make $100,000 a year, you're going to need, of course, you're going to need a product or service to sell. Say we'll just go with $100 a month or $100 a year that you're making. Well, you know that you have to sell a certain number of items to make that revenue. Well, the marketing mountain is a way to just visualize or think about and actually plan. So you're taking the numbers. I want $100,000 or $100,000 a year. That's going to be 1,000. Well, yeah, 1,000 $100 customers, or $100 a year customers. You need 1,000 of them to make $100,000 for your business. Makes sense. So basically, what you're able to do is you put how many customers you need up here on top of your mountain, and then how are you going to get those? Well, you're going to need a certain number of prospects, a certain number of leads, and then what are the sources that are going to generate those leads? So it's easy to say, oh, I need 1,000 customers to make my dreams come true. Well, 1,000 customers, you need a plan that you can actually execute. Like you can't just dream. You have to actually have a plan. So this helps you go, okay, well, if I want 1,000 customers, I'm going to do phone calls, and I believe the phone calls are going to add up to, for example, I'm going to make 1,000 calls that will hopefully lead to 100 leads, 100 leads, a certain number of prospects, and then maybe you'll do a trade show, and the trade show will be one of the sources that you will get, some leads from, and then the people that are probably going to be your customers, but then you're going to get a certain number of customers from them. It all, it's foundation of your sources, where the sources of your customers, and then you're taking those customers, turning them into leads. You're capturing from your domain name. Your domain name will be a source. You're going to capture their information. Now they are suddenly a lead, and then you're going to have conversations with them to see if they're interested in being more active, and then they may become a prospect, and then hopefully they'll actually pay you, which becomes a customer. So it's a marketing. That's one of the things. I'm going to put that in a PDF so I can share it out on the show. So there'll probably be a future episode about that. Anyhow, as you can see, there's a lot of. I'm filled with a lot more ideas. I'm in a place of kind of organizing ideas and things. This is crazy. So I'm going to share out my screen again because I think this is funny. Not funny, funny for me, not for them. Okay, it's going to be sharing out this real quick. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm sharing expireddomains.com one more time. I'm at the top of the list. Actually, I have no filters set. So one of the things that's Gulfstream.com. Isn't that literally the airplane company? That's crazy. I guess I'm going to shut up my filters. I don't know why they're not set up anymore. And hopefully you can see what I am setting up. I set these up specifically for the show. The ends in is primarily for the show. Addin.com, which I did. I will say that for those who watch from other countries, there was some good stuff at NamesCon where they were talking about, like, what happens for .com in the US will eventually make it to other countries. So, having some good domains in your country code, just a couple, I wouldn't get carried away, but it will eventually make it there. So if you can implement this stuff and develop some good ones for your own country, then that's awesome. So what I'm doing right now is I just kind of wanted to look at the top of the list, and you'll see that UFOs, used trailers, are those ones that I already had. And then lead miner, that one's kind of fun. The idea that you're, digging into leads. Oh my goodness, start button. Okay, I love that one. I often will refer to things as pressing the start button. So that's awesome. In fact, in our IMAS business model, I a lot of times refer to the idea of using paid traffic or paying for ads as pressing the start button. So, don't know how it's funny how you can look at the same stinking lists and red carpet event. If that was plural, that would be awesome for some development stuff. But red carpet event could be a brandable, a mix of a brandable directory of events. So school lunches. These are okay. For some reason, I did not see most of these, some of these when I went through here the first time. I must have went through them too quickly. So, and again, if you are not familiar with the expired domains, what I'm doing here is looking through, these are GoDaddy auctions, and you will get to these through auctions.godaddy.com. And then they will have an option for choosing expired domains, or if you just search for the domain name that you see here that you're interested in. And I'm just looking at this first page one more time to see if I had anything to. City photographer. It's not bad. That's pretty fun one. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to grab one of those ones that I just mentioned. Red carpet event. Let's go with leadminer.com. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to talk about a business that we can build on leadminer.com. So that way, if you are, if you're here for the idea, for the inspiration, I guess, or just the breakdown. So leadminer.com, basically we are going to be trying to. So let me start off 3 days. So that's going to end in 4 days. $35 currently. I imagine if you can get this for, less than $1,000, it's going to be a pretty good start for you. So leadminer. Oh, you can't see my screen. That's so frustrating. I'm literally sharing the screen through. Well, I apologize. I didn't see the chat until just now. I was looking through expireddomains.net, selected some domain names and some parameters from there. Basically, I found leadminer.com, which is LEADMINER.com, ending over on GoDaddy Auctions. Apologies for that. I don't know why the screen share does not necessarily work sometimes. So it's just me now. So leadminer.com, leads, of course, being, just like we talked about in the marketing mountain, that idea of a lead is somebody that may be interested in your product or service. So leadminer would be the, how we, in fact, let me just grab this real quick. Just complete coincidence that I pulled this out, but it just so happens to work with this because so much of business is just basics, right? It's the same things over and over and over again. So we have these sources at the bottom of our mountain. So maybe your mountain is here, and then the sources are the ground. Well, leadminer.com could be a tool or a source or a training that helps you mine your sources for more leads. See what I did there? So basically, leadminer.com could be a brandable as far as you're mining more leads out of your sources, or I like the idea of just lead management in general. Leadminer. I do like the idea of diving into your sources and pulling more leads out. Maybe it can be an implementation of the 3 C's. Capture, converse, and convert. So a lot of companies, mine included, well, nearly every company out there needs leads, needs people that may or may not be interested in their product or service. Leadminer.com helps you find those people, building an idea of who your ideal customer is, and then helps you pull those people through. So sorry about the flicker and things on the camera. My laptop it's not the best camera in the world. I'll be back to high tech in the office. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Hopefully this is hopefully we've had some good stuff. I am going to, just for the most part, I think wrap things up though. I've talked a lot today. And next week I will be back in the office. I will be there, Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on my home court. And we will be able to continue to look at some 3-minute business plans. And here on From Domain to Profit, what we're out to do is, get more domains developed. That's my goal. I want you to develop your domain names instead of having them parked or sitting around. And I want to develop my domain names. I have a lot of domain names and I want to get them developed. So, we can all work together for the most part. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know why I say hopefully it makes sense. Either it does or doesn't. No. Okay, well, I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Let me know questions, and let me know of anything, anything that we can do here on From Domain to Profit to help you be successful in what it is that you're looking to do. So see you Monday.